Hello, we are going to introduce about the game we're planning to make, and our game's genre is basically horror and thriller, which is because of the difference between Korea and overseas game industry. Korean game industry is mainly based on the online games, not using console and mobile phones, basically using PCs, but there are famous horror games made in Japan and United States, such as like Five Nights at Freddy's, Shadow Corridor, Outlast, etc. But there are so we're planning to make horror game series to make horror genre become famous. The basic outline of the game is this. Playing of view is first person point of view. Game playing platform is by Steam VR, Oculus, PlayStation VR. Key target audiences are teenagers through 30s who have difficulty enjoying room escape games. Our games have various puzzles and devices that can easily enjoy the escape thriller games, and we mainly target students in 20s through office workers 30s. Basic scenario is a main character who is a murderer loses his memory and get imprisoned in a large house. So he have to run away from the monsters and escape the whole room. It is the basic goal of our game. And if you can escape for 13 hours, you will be killed by monsters. The basic operation is different in using PC's keyboard and joystick VR. Keyboard is by using keyboard it is just same as WASD for moving front and back and left to right, and click to survey, picking up things, hide things, etc. But in joystick and VR, they are basically following the joystick keys such as L1 to pause, triangle to open inventory, etc. There is a basic tutorial process to the game in which the protagonist wakes up from the room and escapes the room. By investigating and combining the surrounding clues, there are no monsters coming out during the tutorial. And there is also a time limit system, hiding system, restriction of pause systems, point systems, and achievement systems, and a collection system. This system is all based in the famous Steam games, so we are just trying to adjust to our games too, to make players enjoy our games the better. And our premium system is by using DLC and Steam registration. So in DLC, a player can find additional stories, upgrading tools to resolve missions easily, and there are additional locations in the floors, such as outdoors, schools, and etc. And by Steam registration, we have to Steamworks register, business registration, and game preview, and then we're getting released to the Steam games. And by VR, we have to resale and additional sales under contract between VR companies, so we have to make contract against them and release to the VR games too.
Next, I'm going to explain about the story of the game. At the beginning, the main character wakes up in the room with his memories all gone and must escape the room within 10 hours. In this progress, he slowly learns about his own identity. The player can escape the room using clues and passwords and can go downstairs when he opens all the rooms in the floor. The house consists of 7 floors total. The game starts on the 5th floor, ordinary room containing common clues used in room escape cafes. It has junctions that determine the ending of the game. 4th floor is brighter and the clues are mostly solved using toys and riddles. Gas erupts every hour in this floor and the game will end if the player fails to escape. 3rd floor is darker and prison-like floor. Clues are mostly using flashlights, and this floor also contains of the junctions determining the ending. 2nd floor is wide outdoor, having 20 minutes time limit, and contains a double track that shows the identity of the main character. 1st floor is final layer of the bad ending, and the clues suggest that he's a murderer, but he leaves the house without knowing the exact fact. First basement level is the final layer of the normal ending, and he wakes up on the 5th floor without knowing the true intention of the designer, and of this punishment and experiences an infernal affair. Second basement level is the final layer of the true ending, and he finally realizes his identity and wakes up in new space, suggesting a follow-up story. The purpose of having different concepts is diversity and controlling tensions of the game. Next is roguelike system. We use random elements, limited the safe position to the initial position of each floor, inhibited the main character's growth, and made junctions on some floors. Game can be played in multiplayer way, and the first part of the story will stay the same, except the players will be in different rooms and notice each other with the radio in each room. They can meet each other by escaping rooms or teleport. We'll be using Unreal Engine to produce the game because it has less bugs and active support from Epic Games. The condition of the license in Unreal Engine is 5% royalty payments for quarterly revenue exceeding $10,000 after gross revenue per project exceeds $1 million. When developing the game, we need creative director, game producer, game scenario writer, game programmer, background designer, sound creator, user stress design, and QA engineer. This is our development stage. We'll go through concept, prototyping, structure design, milestone, game development, closed beta test, being ready to launch, planning service to actually launching the game. We set the price at 20,000 won and increase as the version release. We consider Steam VR game market and wanted to have a price advantage when.
Next, we will introduce the 3-year budget calculation. The amount is used to attach to PPT, so I attached a separate link. The budget was divided into office operating expenses, employee salary, marketing system, and investment expenses. A total of 15 employees will be selected, and the salary was measured differently depending on the difficulty and skill level of the work. Marketing costs were expected to be incurred after the game was released, but we will use 2 million won for Google Ads and 1 million won for Facebook Meta advertising every month. In addition, there are travel expenses, welfare expenses, and investment expenses for purchasing parts. So the total cost for 3 years is this one. Next, I will going to show you the design for the 5th, 4th, and 3rd floors that we designed. In 5th floor, large monsters can be moved from the corridor, and there is a random arrangement of monsters. And over time, monsters destroy the doors, which is to reduce movement delay and increase difficulty of the play. And there are random hiding places like beds and closets to move to another room to hide. And there is the simple migration route of the monster. And next, there you can see the 4th floor design drawings, and there are monsters and they move to ceiling water pipe and not the door. So, and the monster have random route and they spin around. You have to spin around the floor and escape from the room. And there is the slow moving speed of the monster, which is to less hideouts and smaller rooms. And finally, in 3rd floor, there is a monster appearance and strong mobility randomness, and there is no restrictions on movement through the door. Yeah, that's all for our presentation, and thank you for hearing. Thank you.